The dashcam footage shows everything. A black sedan, weaving through traffic like a knife through water. Pedestrians are diving onto sidewalks. A mother yanking her stroller back just in time. And behind it all, the steady pursuit of a Crown Victoria with lights blazing red and blue, slicing through the afternoon chaos. Officer Patrick Hale grips the steering wheel so tight his knuckles have gone bone white. The radio crackles with static and urgency. Voices overlapping, coordinates shouting, the metallic pulse of adrenaline compressed into sound. Suspect armed. Proceeding westbound on Fletcher. All units maintain pursuit. Repeat, maintain pursuit. The suspect's car clips a mailbox. Sparks spray across the asphalt. Hale keeps pace, muscle memory guiding every correction, every turn. This is what he's trained for. 14 years on the force, and his hands know the job before his head does. Still, every time the sirens wail like this, a ghost flickers at the edge of thought. Don't let another one die. And then, a blur of pink, center frame. Middle of the crosswalk. A little girl, maybe 6 years old, frozen solid. A lollipop clutched in one tiny fist, her eyes wide as dinner plates, watching tons of steel barrels toward her at 60 miles an hour. Hale voice cracks over the radio. There's a child. The steering wheel jerks hard to the right. Tires scream. The world tilts. He'd been trained to follow the suspect, to never break pursuit, to trust the protocol that kept cities safe. But instinct, raw animal desperate, told him to do something else entirely. The footage shudders. The sirens drown. And then, silence. Have you ever faced a choice between what's right and what's required? Comment below and subscribe for more powerful human stories.
Rewind 12 hours. The morning briefing room smells like burnt coffee and old leather. Fluorescent lights hum overhead, casting everyone in that sticky institutional glow that makes even the youngest officers look tired. Patrick Hale sits in the third row, arms folded, listening as Lieutenant Harris runs through the day's priorities. Protocol first, emotion second, Harris says, his voice grinding like gravel in a blender. I don't care if your grandmother's cat is stuck in a tree. If dispatch gives you an assignment, you execute. Clear? A chorus of yes sir ripples through the room. Next to Hale, Officer Carter leans over and whispers, Bet you get that promotion this time, Patrick. You never break formation. You're like a robot. Hale smirks. Following rules isn't heroism, Carter. It's maintenance. Still, Harris loves you. After the meeting breaks, Harris does exactly that. Pulls Hale aside in the hallway, one heavy hand on his shoulder like a father before prom. Keep your head down today, Patrick. Don't take risks. The captain's watching your file. One more clean month, and that sergeant's badge is yours. Hale nods. I don't plan to, sir. Harry studies him for a moment, then claps his back. Good man. Hale watches him walk away, thumb brushing the edge of his nameplate. It's metal-worn smooth after 14 years of polish. He adjusts it until it sits just right. The precinct doors swing open, and Hale steps into the city. 14 years of patrol routes. The streets are muscle memory now. He knows which traffic lights lag by 2 seconds, which alley do the homeless camp in when it rains, which bodega owner will call in suspicious activity before anything actually happens. He slides into his cruiser, the seat molded perfectly to his frame. The smell of old vinyl and coffee lingering in the air. For a moment, the world feels balanced, almost gentle. If every day stayed this predictable, he thinks, maybe he'd finally slip through the night. It's a Tuesday, clear skies, the kind of day where nothing ever goes wrong, until the radio crackles at 2:47 p.m. All units, we have a 211 in progress. Armed robbery at Fletcher and Ninth. Suspect fleeing in a black sedan. License plate Charlie Delta 7329. Considered armed and dangerous. Hale is 3 blocks away. He flips the light and the city splits open for him. The chase ignites like a match to gasoline. The suspect's black sedan tears through the intersection at Fletcher and 12th, running a red light and scattering traffic like pigeons. Hale sees it from 3 blocks back and doesn't hesitate. He punches the accelerator. The Crown Vic surges forward, 8 cylinders of steel and muscle roaring in his hands. Unit 7-2 in pursuit, he says into the mic, voice steady, clipped, professional. Westbound on Fletcher, approaching 11th. The radio explodes in static and overlapping chatter. Other units calling positions, dispatch barking directions. The rhythm of police were condensed into noise. And then, Harris's voice cuts through, sharp, commanding, absolute. All units maintain pursuit. Do not disengage. The suspect is wanted in connection with 3 prior armed robberies. Do not let him slip. Hale tightens his grip on the wheel. He knows that tone. It's the tone of someone watching, someone keeping score. The sedan swerves onto oncoming traffic. Horns blare. Crates of packages bursting across the intersection like confetti. Hale threads through the chaos, instinct guiding him. Every nerve turned to survival and precision. Anticipate, don't react. That's the rule. They burst onto a straightaway. Hale closes the distance. 20 feet, 15, 10. He can see the suspect now. Male, mid-30s, baseball cap low over his eyes. In the rear view, those eyes flick towards the pursuing cruiser, wild with calculation. Desperation makes people dangerous. Hale knows that better than anyone. The suspect yanks the wheel left, cutting through a gas station lot. Tires shriek. Hale follows. The sirens war cry bouncing off glass storefronts. They shoot out the other side onto Riverside Avenue, and everything changes. Sidewalk cafes. A farmer's market is setting up for the afternoon rush. Mothers with strollers, teenagers on bikes, vendors rolling out carts of fruits and flowers. Unit 72 be advised. Dispatch warns. Voice taut. Heavy pedestrian traffic in your area. Exercise extreme caution. Copy that, Hale replies. Eyes fixed on the sedan. The suspect doesn't slow down. If anything, he accelerates. 40, 50, 55. People scatter like birds before a storm. A fruit stand explodes in a shower of oranges. A businessman trips over his own briefcase trying to clear the curb. Hale feels the weight of the moment pressing inward. His heart rate spikes, but his hands stay steady. Years of training, 14 of them, have built this muscle memory. Stay on target, keep control. Then, the intersection ahead, Fletcher and Riverside, a 4-way crossing known for heavy foot traffic this time of the day. The light is red. For the suspect, it means nothing. The sedan barrels through, missing a minivan by inches. Hale grips the wheel tighter, ready to follow when the light changes. The crossing signal turns green, and she steps off the curb. A little girl, 6, maybe 7, pink dress, butterfly clips flashing in the sunlight, a cherry lollipop in her hand, glowing red like a beacon. She isn't looking at traffic. She's watching the lollipop spin between her fingers. lost in the kind of tiny wonder that only children still have. Time stretches thin. The world narrows to sound and light and motion. Hale hears his own breath inside his chest, slow and heavy. The radio fades, the city fades. All that exists is the girl and the black sedan hurtling towards her like a missile. 20 feet, 15, 10. The suspect doesn't see her, or can't, or won't. Hale can't tell, but he sees everything. He sees the gap closing, frame by frame, like a dashcam footage he's reviewed 100 times after fatal accidents. He sees something else too, reflected in the rearview mirror. The morning briefing room. Lieutenant Harris's gravel-grinding voice. Protocol first, emotion second. The captain's promise. The sergeant's badge. One clean month away. 14 years of perfect service, of doing things right, of never breaking formation. It all flashes behind him. 14 years of rules held in place by one word, control. Maintain pursuit. The radio's ordered again. The child takes another step. Hale's body moves before his mind does. He slams the brakes. The Crown Vic screams, rubber shredding against asphalt. 40 feet of tar marks scar the streets. The steering wheel spins beneath his palms and cranks hard right, crossing 2 lanes, threading between a parked delivery truck and a Civic by inches. The suspect sedan rips through the intersection, missing the little girl by less than 3 feet, and disappears down Riverside in a streak of black exhaust in panic. Hale doesn't watch it go. He's already out of the car, door flung wide, siren still wailing. Boots hit pavement. He runs. 4 long strides and he's there, arms wrapping around the girl before thought can form. She's tiny, all bones and warmth and the sugary smell of bubblegum shampoo. He pivots, turning his body to shield her from the street, from the screeching brakes, from the staring faces. The world holds its breath. Then the girl begins to cry. Not loud, not hysterical, just a trembling, bewildered sound. Like she's only now realizing what almost happened. "You're okay," Hale says, voice raw. "You're okay, I've got you." Around them, everything stands still. Traffic frozen, people filming. The city itself paused between disbelief and awe. The lollipop lies shattered near his boots, a red smear melting into the asphalt. He doesn't notice the pain in his shoulder from the sudden turn, or the smell of burned rubber, or the heat of the engine still ticking behind him. He only feels the heartbeat against his chest. Hers, fast and frantic. The suspect is gone. Backup arrives 60 seconds later, sirens converging, officers spilling out of the cruisers, confusion written across every face. Officer Dalton is first. He slows when he sees Hale kneeling there, the girl still in his arms. "Sir," Dalton says carefully, glancing at the empty street ahead. The suspect, he got away. Hale doesn't answer at first. He's still holding the child, waiting for her to stop trembling. A paramedic rushes forward, crouches beside them, and starts checking her over. She's unharmed, just scared. Dalton tries again. "Sir, command wants to know, should we keep perimeter pursuit?" Hale shakes his head slowly. "No, it's done." He looks up, sunlight glaring off windshields, faces pressed against cafe windows. The glow of a dozen phones recording him in this unguarded moment. The seasoned officer who always followed orders is now kneeling in the street, rule book shattered behind him. Harris's voice echoes faintly through the radio, still hanging from Hale's shoulder. Unit 72 reports status. Hale, do you copy? He glances at the mic. Did not press it. Just watches the child wipe her tears with the back of her hand. She looks up at him with that confused innocence. Voice barely a whisper. Did I do something wrong? Hale smiles. Tired, gentle, almost breaking. No, sweetheart, you did everything right. The girl's mother appears from the crowd, screaming her name, running. Hale hands her over, slow and careful, and stays crouched as the woman pulls her child close. Relief floods the air like oxygen after a fire. The paramedic stands, waiting for Hale to move. He doesn't. Not yet. In the distance, sirens fade. The ones chasing a ghost he no longer cares to catch. Finally, Hale pushes himself upright. His knees ache. His hands shake just a little. He stares down the stretch of riverside where the suspect vanished and exhales. Harris's voice crackles one more through the static, sharp and impatient. Protocol first, emotion second. Hale looks towards the mic, then towards the girl being carried to safety. Yeah, he says quietly, I know. The radio hisses. The wind carries the sound away. And for the first time in 14 years, Patrick Hale doesn't feel like a machine built for pursuit. He just feels human. At night, the precinct hums like a dying machine. Fluorescents buzz, paper whispers. Every sound feels like judgment. Patrick Hale sits in interview room 3, though everyone knows it's not for the interviews, it's for internal matters. The kind that stains a career. A cold coffee sits untouched in front of him. His knuckles are scraped raw. A faint burn tracing the heel of his palm where the steering wheel spun out of control. He stares at his hands like they belong to someone else. The door opens. Lieutenant Harris steps in. A manila folder tucked beneath his arm. He doesn't sit, just stands there, jaw tight, eyes like floodlights. The silence stretches electric. You abandoned pursuit, Harris says finally. Not a question, just a verdict. Yes, sir. You disobeyed a direct order. Yes, sir. Harris exhales through his nose and finally sits. The chair creaks. The folder lands on the table with a dull slap. Inside, paperwork, statements, the dashcam image frozen mid-chaos. Hale's cruiser was sideways across the intersection, and he was sprinting towards the little girl. Harris taps the photo once with his finger. You know what that suspect did after you let him go? No, sir. 4 blocks later, he ditches the sedan, carjacks a minivan, puts a mother and her 8-year-old on the pavement, took their car, got another 6 miles before wrapping it around a telephone pole. A pause. The mother and son are fine. The suspects in the ICU, skull fracture, both legs broken. We got him eventually. The words hang heavy. Hale nods. Once. What else is there to say? Harris leans back. His uniform looks sharper under the buzzing lights. Every medal polished, every crease perfect. You know what else happened while you were playing hero? The room goes still. That word, hero, hits like an insult. Sir. That little girl, Harris interrupts. That wasn't your call. We have protocols for a reason. You trust the system. You trust your team. You maintain pursuit. She would have died, Hale says, voice low, steady. You don't know that? He meets Harris's eyes. Yes, sir, I do. A long silence, the kind that hurts your ears. Something flickers across Harris's face. Crack in the stone. Something human. But it's gone just as fast. He straightens, professional mask sliding back into place. I have to write you up, he says. Yes, sir. Disobeying orders, abandoning your vehicle in a traffic lane, creating a hazard for civilians and fellow officers. Yes, sir. Harris slides the paper across the table. Official reprimand, career poison. Hale doesn't flinch. He reads it, signs his name. The pen scratches louder than it should. The sound feels final. When he steps into the bullpen, the air feels colder, quieter. Night shift officers cluster around desks, pretending not to notice him, pretending but failing. Conversations drop to whispers. Heard he froze, panicked during the chase, blew it. Officer Carter, his friend, his morning coffee partner, won't look up from his screen. Ellison turns his chair the other way. Even the desk sergeant avoids his eyes. Hale walks past them all, every step a mile long. Only one person stops him, Officer Dalton, the rookie who'd arrived first at the scene. His face is still young enough to show what he feels. He catches Hale by the arm near the exit. Sir, he says softly. For what it's worth, she would have died. Hale studies him for a moment, then nods. No words, just gratitude buried under exhaustion. He pushes through the doors and steps into the night. Outside, the city hums with distant traffic. Sirens echo far away, familiar, hollow. Once, those sounds meant purpose. Now, they sound like reminders, accusations. He walks to his car, the old sedan that followed him through every low point of his life. It looked small, unmarked, anonymous. No sirens, no badge, just metal and silence. He sits inside and doesn't start the engine. The streetlights flicker against the windshield. His reflection stares back, tired eyes, a day's worth of decisions carved into his face. The weight of the badge still presses against his chest, but it feels heavier than it ever has. His phone buzzes, a text from his sister. Heard what happened, you okay? He stares at it, types nothing. What would he even say? That he saved a child but lost the part of himself that believed in the system? That the rulebook he lived by suddenly feel like a cage? He presses the power button. The screen goes dark. Outside, a lone siren wails, fading into the distance. Hale grips the steering wheel. The texture of worn leather reminds him of the chase, of that instant before everything changed. The blur of pink in the crosswalk, the impossible choice. He closed his eyes. For a second, he's back there. The smell of burnt rubber, the flash of red light, the child's trembling in his arms. Her tiny voice whispering through tears, "You're squishing me." That's the sound that stays. Not the sirens, not Harris, not the reprimand. He starts the engine. The Civic coughs to life, headlights washing the asphalt in pale yellow. He drives through the sleeping streets, past shuttered shops and empty bus stops. The world feels both quieter and louder now, every detail amplified, as if the city itself is watching him. At the next red light, he stops out of habit. No cars, no pedestrians, just stillness. He watches the signal glow green, but it doesn't move right away. Protocol first, emotion second, Harris had said. Hale's fingers tighten on the wheel. The lights turn yellow, then red again. He exhales. For once, he murmurs to no one. I won't chase. The sirens fade behind him. The city breathes, and Patrick Hale drives on alone, but awake. 3 weeks pass like a slow-motion car crash. Hale is reassigned to desk duty, temporary they call it, but everyone knows what it means. He spends his days processing parking tickets and filing reports, watching through the window as patrol cars come and go without him. The precinct treats him like a ghost. People nod when they had to, avoid conversations when they can. At lunch, he sits alone, the empty chairs around him a perfect circle of isolation. Outside, the season folds into rain. On a Thursday, it comes heavy and relentless, the kind that turns the city gray and makes everything feel underwater. Hale sits at his temporary desk in the far corner near the broken copy machine, sorting through a stack of vehicle impound forms. Somewhere down the hall, a printer hums. Rain drums on the windows like static. There's a knock on the doorframe. He looks up. A woman stands there, maybe 35, holding an umbrella in one hand and a small bouquet of flowers in the other. She's wearing jeans and a sweater, and her eyes carries the kind of tired that comes from not sleeping right for weeks. Beside her, half hidden behind her leg, is a little girl in a pink raincoat. The little girl from the crosswalk. Hale stands so fast his chair rolled backwards and hits the wall. "I'm sorry to bother you," the woman says, her voice barely above a whisper. "They said you were... I asked at the front desk. I had to find you." "Ma'am, you don't need to." "Yes, I do." She steps into the room, the little girl following like a shadow. "I never got to thank you. That day, they rushed us to the hospital. By the time I understood what happened, you were... They said you'd left." Hale doesn't know what to do with his hands. He shoves them into his pocket, the gesture stiff, awkward. "She called you the man with the loud car," the woman says. "She's been sleeping in her own bed again, not waking up screaming, drawing pictures instead of hiding under furniture." Hale feels something twist in his chest, so small he almost mistakes it for breath. The woman holds out the flowers, cheap carnations and baby's breath. The kind you buy at a grocery store on the way somewhere important. "I know this isn't enough. I know nothing is enough. You gave me my daughter back." The little girl peeks out from behind her mother's leg. She's holding something, a piece of paper, folded and wrinkled from being carried around. Slowly, shyly, she extended towards him. He takes it and folds it. It's a drawing, crayon on a construction paper. 2 stick figures, one tall, one small, holding hands. The tall one wears blue and has a star on his chest. Above them, in uneven letters, something in Hale's chest cracks open. "What's your name?" he asked, kneeling down so they're eye to eye. She hides her face for a moment, then whispers, "Via." "That's a beautiful name, Via." He looks back at the drawing, really looks. "Did you make this for me?" She nods. "Can I keep it?" Another nod, this one bigger, braver. Her mother places a hand on his shoulder. "They told me what it cost you. The reprimand, the demotion. I'm so sorry. If there's anything I can do." "No," Hale says, standing. His voice comes out rough, like it hasn't been used in weeks. "There's nothing to be sorry for. I do it again every time." For a heartbeat, the room is silent except for the rain. Then the woman nods, eyes bright but steady. "I believe you." They leave a few minutes later. stepping back into the storm. From his window, Hale watches them go. The mother's hand holding Via's, both dry beneath their umbrella, both alive. He sits back down at his desk. The room feels different now, warmer, though the radiator still clicks and groans. He stares at the drawing in his hands, the misspelled gratitude, the wonky stars, the small miracle caught in crayon. 10 minutes later, Officer Dalton appears in the doorway. He doesn't knock. He just walks in and drops the folded paper on his desk. "Thought you should see this," Dalton says. The headline reads, "Suspect in multi-county crime spree captured following anonymous tip." Hale scans the article. The suspect, the same man from the chase, was caught at a hospital 2 counties over, trying to get treatment for his injuries under a fake name. An off-duty officer recognized him from the description. No shots fired, no injuries, a clean capture. Below the main story, almost an afterthought, is a smaller section. Minor miracle on Fletcher Street. Child safe after high-speed chase endangers pedestrians. It was 2 paragraphs long, barely mentions Hale by name, but it ends with one simple line: "No civilians' injuries were reported." Dalton leans against the doorframe, watching him read. "Carter told me they're reviewing your case next week. Word is, the mother filed a letter with the captain. So did 4 other witnesses from that intersection. Even the guy whose fruit cart got demolished." Hale looks up. "What did they say?" "That you saved a kid's life." Dalton shrugs. "Guess you didn't lose after all, sir." For a long moment, Hale doesn't move. Then he folds the newspaper, sets it aside, and turns back to the drawing. He finds a roll of tape in his drawer and carefully smooths the paper flat. Then, with deliberate care, he fixes it to the wall beside his temporary desk, the one near the broken copier and the rain-streaked window. It's crooked, imperfect, but it belonged there. Hale leans back in his chair. The rain outside has softened into a drizzle. Somewhere in the distance, a siren starts up, wailing through the wet streets. He listens. This time, it doesn't sound like an accusation. It sounds like music. He glances once more at the drawing, the blue figure, the small hand in his, and a faint, quiet smile touches his face. Somewhere out there, the city keeps moving, and for the first time in weeks, he feels like part of it again. Patrick Hale exhales, slow and steady. The weight in his chest eases, and for the first time since that night, he lets himself believe, maybe, just maybe, he made the right choice after all. 6 months later, the crosswalk at Fletcher and Riverside gleams under a low orange sun. Fresh paint, crisp white lines, a new signal with a longer countdown timer. Someone even planted daisies in the median, bright yellow against the asphalt, nodding in the breeze. Patrick Hale parks his old sedan half a block away and walks to the corner. Rush hour hums around him, the soft rhythm of a city exhaling. He stands by the curb, watching the signals cycle, red, then green, then the steady chirp of the crosswalk beeper counting down. This is where his life splits, before and after, protocol and instinct. The internal review took 4 months. Letters poured in, witnesses, Via's family, strangers who'd seen the footage on the news. Even Lieutenant Harris, in a rare moment of honesty, wrote that while Officer Hale violated pursuit procedure, his actions prevented a civilian fatality and demonstrated judgment that can't be taught. They dropped the reprimand, restored him to patrol, but the promotion that went to someone who'd never stepped out of the line. Hale didn't care. Rules keep order, he thinks. Instinct saves lives. He reached into his jacket and pulls out a small laminated drawing. Crayon lines slightly faded, creases sealed under plastic. Two stick figures, one tall, one small, holding hands. The taller ones wear blue, a star on his chest, "Thank you," scrolled in uneven letters across the sky. He kneels and tucks the drawing behind the stop signpost, wedging it where metal meets concrete. A quiet shrine, a reminder that sometimes a single choice can echo forever. The signal clicks again. 10, 9, 8. The beeper sounds calm, steady. There's time now. Phone buzzes. A text from Dalton. "See you tomorrow for patrol?" He types back, "Yeah, early shift." Standing, he looks once more at the intersection. His intersection. He can still see it if he lets himself. The black sedan skidding sideways, the scream of tires, the little girl frozen mid-crossing. But the memory feels different now, softer. The fear replaced by something else, gratitude, maybe. He imagines Via walking here with her mother, laughing about school, the pink raincoat traded for a backpack, safe, whole. They called it a mistake. The rule keepers, the ranking officers, the ones who measured heroism and commendations in years of perfect obedience. But the child still crosses this street every day. Maybe that's the point. Maybe the price of being human is sometimes breaking the rulebook in favor of a heartbeat. He watches the light turn red again, the car slowing to a gentle stop. The daisies sway in the wind. The city hums, alive and ordinary. Hale turns towards his car, rain from the earlier shower still clinging to the pavement. His reflection trails beside him in the puddles, older, perhaps, but lighter. The heaviness he'd carried for months had finally begun to ease. He climbs into the driver's seat and rests his hand on the wheel. Through the windshield, the crosswalk beeps again, faint, rhythmic like a pulse. The radio crackles softly, the one he installed himself to stay tuned even off duty. A minor call comes through, noise complaint on the east side, nothing urgent. He smiles, small but real. Tomorrow he'll be back in uniform, back behind the wheel of a patrol car, not as a sergeant, not as the department's golden example, just an officer who once made the right choice when it mattered. He didn't earn a medal that day, didn't make the front page or the highlight reel, but he earned something else. The sound of a child's laughter instead of a siren, a crane-drawn thank you instead of applause. Some things don't need to be remembered loudly. He stares at the engine. The sedan merges into traffic, taillights disappearing into the evening glow. One quiet heartbeat moving through the gold. And somewhere across the city, a little girl named Via is falling asleep safe in her own bed, dreaming of sunlight and butterfly clips, not screaming metal or flashing lights. Sometimes that is enough. Everyday heroes are all around us.